Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to share a very good conversation I was having with one of my subscribers today, and we were talking about the problems of using a pump shotgun in home defense. And the problem that I typically see when I'm training people is that they don't pump hard enough to either eject the case or to put the next round in. And the typical type of situation that I will see, okay, well, first of all, the first thing that I see is a lot of times what they do is they load up the tube, right? And what they do is, you know, they go to pump the gun to load the first round, and the gun is locked because they already previously pumped it, and there's no round in the chamber. So now they forgot that they got to find the release here in order to pump it. So that's the first problem I see with people when I'm training them and putting them under stress, that they get mixed up with, is the shotgun locked or not locked? Okay, in which case, if the gun's locked and there's no round in the chamber, they're having difficulty feeding that first round. So that's the first problem I see. Second problem I see is after they fire that first round, they don't pump it hard enough, and what happens is that, okay, they jam the gun up. Okay, you don't pump the gun hard enough to eject this far enough away. The gun is gonna jam up, and even if this does kick out, a lot of times it just don't go far enough back to pick up the next round. So that I see that all the time with new shooters, and I see that also with experienced shooters. Now me, I shoot every day, so a lot of times I will make those mistakes too. Not those mistakes, but I will short stroke the gun. Either because I'm working under a timer, right, where I'm trying to do it as fast as possible, and because I'm trying to beat, let's say, my previous time, I just don't pump the gun hard enough. And that's a good representation, not a perfect representation, but it's a good representation of what you are likely to do under stress, where you just got to round off your, you want to pump the gun, get it ready for the next round, and because you're trying to do it so fast, you don't do it good enough, okay? So those are the issues with the pump shotgun. And then the other thing that's very common is when people try to reload this, they're dropping the shells. Okay, and this is even people that are experienced. They will drop shells. I do it myself. I mean, if you do this, if you do this often enough, you're going to make those mistakes. I mean, like I said, unless you're in a situation where you're like shooting in your backyard, you probably don't practice as much as I do. So if I'm making mistakes with a pump shotgun under stress, you're definitely going to probably make mistakes, okay? So we were talking about the semi-auto shotgun. So the way the semi-automatic shotgun works is that, in order for the gun to cycle, the bottom half of the gun has to stay steady while the bolt is going back and forth, okay? So if the whole gun is rocking back and forth, the bolt's not coming back all the way, and it's either going to fail to eject the next round, or it's going to fail to put in the next round. So that's why when we shoot in the shotgun, basically we typically have it tighten our chest face forward like that, lining up our sights. Now this gun's very well broken in, so I can shoot this in a variety of weird positions. Like I've been able to shoot the gun up like this. Why would I want to be in a position like that? Well, suppose I'm coming into a room, or I'm in my position and somebody kind of jumps at me from the side and they're trying to grab my muzzle. I want to be able to pull my muzzle back so they can't grab the gun and be able to shoot from this position. So most semi-automatic shotguns, especially the new ones, that you have not had a chance to put, hundreds and hundreds of rounds through, will not cycle when you have them in that awkward position. AR-15s, on the other hand, because it's a very light recoiling gun, and the gun itself has some weight. The weight of the gun is enough to, has enough mass so that the gun will basically cycle on its own without you holding the gun, okay? or even you holding it loosely. And I'll do a quick demonstration. Okay, so, I'm in my position here, and basically somebody jumps out of nowhere, they're grabbing my gun, I cock it back, right, and now I'm shooting from this awkward position like this. Gun's empty. So the gun will continue to shoot from that awkward position, and, as you guys saw, I didn't have the gun braced into my shoulder. I just had the gun up here like this. And how much was that gun moving? Was it really moving around a lot? No. I mean, it is a very light recoiling gun that you're able to control in an awkward position. You know, and those awkward positions include, like, if you're, you know, lying on your side, trying to shoot underneath, let's say, a car, or using a car for cover. You know, that's why these AR-15s and AKs have the same properties. Even though it recoils, you know, the gun's a little bit heavier, it recoils a little bit more, but still there's that balance that you can, the gun will cycle itself even if you're holding it loose. But as you saw with the AR-15, I'm holding it like this, boom, 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 boom. You know, with this, if I'm shooting this in this awkward position, like I said, this gun will cycle because it's well broken in, okay? But the gun will also move around a lot more. You know, the same goes with semi-automatic handguns, right? With semi-automatic handguns, the same deal. The bottom part of the gun has to stay steady while the slide is going back and forth. If you're letting the gun rock back and forth like this, the handgun is going to jam up. And that's why they always find, like, jammed handguns at crime scenes, because bad guys don't know how to hold the gun. They don't know how to hold the gun like this, lean their weight forward into the gun, so that the gun has something to push against. And even if, let's say, I'm shooting this in an awkward position, right? Like, let's say somebody's grappling with me and I'm holding the gun here. I'm locking my hand in this position so the gun is not moving and the slide is able to go back and forth. So the gun is really dependent on that. And what I find with a lot of semi-automatics or semi-automatic shotguns, they will not reliably shoot in that position. I mean, I had a had a Cheese 12 that I sold, which is kind of like the predecessor to this, and that gun was horrible. I mean, I was able to shoot it, but you really had to have a really really had to have it tight in your chest, leaning forward, otherwise the gun would fail to feed. You know, I got rid of that gun. Don't buy that gun. With the Lynx 12, because they all came out of pretty much the same place. The Lynx 12 was a predecessor to that. Predecessor? Gun that came after that. And basically they worked out all those bugs, and the gun works really good. So, you know, but with a lot of semi, like I've seen lots. I had a guy here with a Benelli, and you know, he was having, you know, I was having him try shooting that gun from some awkward positions, and that gun was jamming up, you know. So it doesn't, you know, just because you buy a more expensive shotgun doesn't mean that it's going to work better in weird situations. And you know, a home defense situation is all, you know, it's going to be a very weird type of situation where a lot of weird things can happen. You know, things rarely go according to plan. I mean, one of the benefits is that you do have the opportunity to try and plan things out in advance as best as possible, where you want to be, what direction you want to be shooting in. You know, you have the ability to make sure that you get all the people in your household to the position that you want them to be before things start happening. But those are my thoughts on that. That's why I think that the semi-automatic, first of all, the pump is a bad choice, right? Because it's really hard to operate, very easy to jam. And the same deal with the semi-automatic shotgun. It can be you know, it can be problematic. You can get lots of jams. Even though, like I said, I'm having a great experience with this Lynx 12. I've been shooting it in all sorts of weird positions. However, you know, here's the thing. AR-15s are in very wide circulation. You know, you buy an AR-15 from any company, you know, as long as they didn't, as long as they followed mil-spec design, right? As long as they built the gun to mil-spec, they're all going to work the same. So it doesn't matter which company you bought it from. If it's built to mil-spec, they're all gonna do the same thing under all circumstances. You know, with the Lynx 12, you know, or any other semi-automatic shotgun, you know, there's no mil-spec. You know, it's just like each manufacturer's own standards, and you know, sometimes like maybe you have another shotgun like this, maybe yours isn't good as mine. I don't know, you know, because that hasn't been worked out. The gun hasn't been out that long. It hasn't been circulated that long. You know, there aren't too many videos out there, you know, where people are comparing their experiences with this gun. You know, like, you know, so we really don't have enough feedback to be able to say that that gun or any other semi-automatic will work in a variety of home defense type of situations. Whereas with the AR-15, AK-47, listen, those guns have been through war, so we know those guns are going to work under a variety of weird situations. If you guys have any feedback, comment, put in the comment section. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. There you go. That's the thing with AKs, when I have to rock in, sometimes it can be a little pain in the ass to get in there. So here's the situation. So I'm here, right? I'm coming, and all of a sudden somebody's grabbing my gun. I'm pulling the gun back so they can't grab it. Right, and this gun works really good.